We are here with another episode of Co-Creating Act, interview number 10 with Pipe Yanguas. And today we are going to, learn more about him, try to figure out, a little bit more about him and his processes and his journey in the art world. And hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully you guys have a great time with us as we have this amazing conversation that I'm sure is going to be amazing. And we're going to start with a few questions. And the first question is going to be, who is Pipe Yanguas?
Thank you, Ricardo. I am originally from Colombia, but been living here in Miami for over 20 years. I'm a photographer and artist.
That's great. Photography. How long did you do photography, or are you doing photography?
Well, I've been doing photography for the past 13 years.
Wow.
I studied photography in Italy, in Milan, for 3 years. And since then, I've been a full-time photographer since 2010.
Oh, it's amazing to meet a fellow photographer. Even though my career so far has basically just started, it's good to meet someone who has embraced the photography life and has made it a career, because that's something I'm learning to do. It's definitely been a process. What was the transition from photography to painting, if there was a transition, or was it just something that you did at the same time, or was it?
The thing is, I've always painted and drawn all my life, but I always saw it as a hobby. Actually, in a way, I always saw photography as a hobby as well. I originally studied business management, and I worked in the corporate world for a few years until I decided to pursue the creative world. I went and studied photography, and I started, as I just told you, working in photography, but I specialized in photographing the passions of people. Whatever someone's passion is in life, I do a photo shoot for them around that world. Let's say you love playing the guitar, or gardening, or sailing, or horseback riding, or playing with your pet in the park, or being with your family in the pool, or cooking. It can be literally anything, as long as it's an activity that you truly love and enjoy in your life. And I come and I photograph that for you. I call it like photographing your passion. But it's always with natural lighting and a natural scenario for the person. And I keep photographing them over and over again, at least once a year for the rest of their lives.
That's amazing.
And I build a book. It's a book that I print every year, thicker and larger, with all the pictures we have done to the date, and they tell the story of your life through images. I call it a photobiography.
Amazing.
So, but to answer your question, how I transitioned into painting, it is actually only since the pandemic. In 2020, I happened to be in Colombia. I was supposed to be there only for 2 weeks, but it's exactly about the time when all the airports started closing and the quarantine started taking, and closing us all. And I decided to stay in Colombia for a bit longer. My parents live there in a house surrounded only by nature. And I thought, I'm gonna stay here for a little bit and then see what happens next. And being there, I found a very peculiar looking insect that triggered in me like to do a drawing, and that drawing I did using only dots and lines. So I had always painted and drawn all my life, but never with dots and lines. It was different kinds of paintings, always involving repetition, which is like what dots and lines also and all the artwork involves as well, what I'm doing, but never with dots and lines. So after I did that drawing, I started doing variations of that drawing and posting them online in a new Instagram account that I started, until a gallerist told me, Pipe, why don't we sell your work in my gallery? And I'm like, okay, amazing, thank you. But give me some time, because I want to like properly do this, because up until that point I was just posting online whatever I was coming up and painting in the moment. So that was how it started. I can go deep into that and I can keep on talking, or I don't know if you want to guide.
It's all up to you and how much you want to express. But so far, I'm very interested in what this bug was.
Because actually, I do. Well, it's I have a picture of it over here.
Oh, wow. 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 Wow.
So when I saw this guy, I thought, wow, this is very interesting looking. And I Googled and I typed, because I didn't know its name or anything, so I went to Google and I typed most colorful insect. And in the image results, it came as the first one, at least in the results I got in Colombia. Now I've been typing and it still shows and appears within the 5 most colorful bugs there are. It's called a chorate bug nymph. And I, after I did that drawing and I started posting all the pictures of the drawings and paintings that I was doing, I just went ahead and told, well, my friend slash galleries, she's the sister of a friend of mine, and I told her, give me some time. She's like, take your time. And in that moment, I started researching about like good materials and good papers and good, like things for like that would be proper for longevity. So I started full on coming up with a series, the first series that I did on canvas and on paper with acrylic paint, and then we started, and I did a website, and then it all started.
so that's so. It's almost like a. I say this word. I say this a lot. I say that it's calling. It's interesting how that bug just came to you, and then you thought of creating this new piece, and then once you introduced it to the world's reaction to it was, I feel like we can sell this.
Exactly.
So it's like a new world was introduced to you, and the result of that introduction led to something that's almost like a blessing. It's giving back to you already, and even though you've seen painting and stuff as a hobby, and you weren't really maybe taking that step into it, the moment that you allowed yourself to be transformed by this bug, almost like a new part of your life, because it happened during the pandemic.
Yes.
Which is like a time when a lot of people went through some transformation. It's like you just automatically went full force for it, which is very interesting. Most people, are a little bit hesitant, but for you, it's almost like maybe you were reacting subconsciously, but for you to start a website, start an Instagram, all these things where you were originally into photography, and to just go into this and put yourself out there so quickly and easily, like what made you feel that way? Was it just instinct, or what happened?
I mean, in the first instance, the only reason I guess I saw this bug, because I'm originally from Colombia, and I've been going to Colombia so many times, and to this and being in nature all the time, and I never saw this bug. This is not like a new bug or anything, but in the pandemic, people of course were more quiet, more still. I was present. I may have walked over this bug tons of times and never really even saw it and noticed. And this, when you are present, many things can happen, and that's actually one of the biggest lessons for me, because before the pandemic, I was always not in a hurry. I'm always constantly moving, and I have a very active life. But But there in the mid, because literally the house is next to a river, next to the mountains, it's in the middle of nature. There are like chicken, there is cows, there is sheep, there is turkey. It's literally like a farm. And when you are connected to the present, then things happen. And that's actually the main concept and message behind the work. It's the power of connection. To me, there is two mottos that are like the mortar of my art, which are, we are all connected and together we are infinite. So to me, every dot represents a person, every line a link between person to person, and it's how we are all connected in the world, either through an interpersonal relationship or through a project, a dream, an adventure, anything links us all. And everything that surrounds us has an effect on us. Like if we are surrounded by noise and traffic and buildings and construction, it will affect us, our personality, in a different way. If we are surrounded by a mountain or the beach or a palm tree, like it has a different effect. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It's just that we react different. Our energy is going to be a different energy. But also we are made of a connection of trillions of molecules that within us, if they are not connected, then we cannot lift our hands or walk or talk or live. So it's all about the power of connection and being connected to what you have in front of you, and being aware and with your surroundings and with the people around you. And with that in mind, of course, your acts are going to be different if you assume everyone as one, in the sense that we are all connected. So, and I guess I believe in documentation, and I believe in doing things organized and properly. So to answer your question, because maybe I went a little bit off.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
When I saw this and I started painting, I guess the moment when the galleries told me, "Pipe, why don't we sell your work in my gallery?" is the moment that I really thought, oh, I have to do this properly. Until that point, I had just opened a new Instagram account where I was posting everything that I was doing. Because the thing is that I am very intense, and when I started doing the first drawings, then I immediately thought in like a small paper, then a bigger paper, then a bigger paper, then a bigger canvas, then murals, and I started doing murals right away and trying, and they worked in a way. So actually, when the gallery saw one of the first murals is when she wrote me, "Pipe, why don't we sell your work in my gallery?" And I'm like, let's do this. So I thought, and as I mentioned, I studied business management originally. So when I thought of this, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So I want to do a website. I want to do things properly and organized. So and let's see, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I am going to do my best out of every single thing, because when I get involved in something, I want to do it right and properly. So but that happens with me with anything. It has to be properly done. If it ended up working, then good. If it didn't, then it didn't. But I gave my best, and my best is to do it properly. So it was the website. It was to full on immersing myself into that world.
That's amazing, brother. That is amazing. I love how intentional you are. You know, that you understand that for me, whatever I start, I'm gonna do my best to do it properly. That's an amazing mindset to have. For you to just be willing to just approach it as the best way that you can, and giving your best at every way that you can. That's a great mindset to have. And whether you're gonna fail or not, it's like, no, I'm just gonna go, and whatever happens, happens. So I really like that. I appreciate that mindset that you have. But it's kind of interesting because don't take this word as in a bad way, but as meticulous as you are, how do you allow yourself to create these pieces when they seem so meticulous? Like, you have to be so detailed, and these lines and dots, from what I've seen so far, there may be ones where you just allow yourself to create, but when it comes to creativity, sometimes you have to remove yourself from the strictness how do you allow yourself to create in your space? How would you describe it?
Well, of course, what you're seeing and what you have seen probably online
Mm-hmm.
and also here at the studio, you see all this meticulosity, or I don't know what's the word. But behind all of these works are many scratch books, or I don't know how do you call it, like when you are like just trying different
Sketches.
things, sketches, and then there, like it's not perfectly or so meticulous, like so. But when I am doing an actual piece, I really have to be, particularly the ones that are with miniature dots and lines, I have to be very focused. I learned that like the moment that I'm not present, I end up doing a mistake. So I assume all of the pieces like a meditation. So I'm there, I'm present, I'm giving all my energy, and I cannot be thinking of something else. The moment I start like drifting in my mind somewhere else, then something wrong happens. And then I have to find a way to fix it or to start a new one.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like you're in a trance almost.
yes,
You're
yes.
in your own world.
Yes.
Okay.
So exactly, it's not like, of course, yeah, what you're saying and your question, it's completely valid in the sense that you cannot be so perfect and expect a perfect thing, and many things can happen when you have already the pen or the paintbrush in your hand and you're working at something. Many things can happen, actually, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of art, because when you are creating something, then you come up with a different idea and a different concept, and you are like, okay, but now I have to finish this one before starting that one. So that's actually one of the struggles is patience, because each piece takes time, and then each concept that you want to develop, you have to take your time and then move on to the next. But it's the journey.
Yeah, it's definitely the journey, and I appreciate that. Thank you for expounding and explaining that to me. So you say sometimes it's almost like meditation to you. I feel like that's the answer to my next questions, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So what would you say that art is to you?
Art to me is everything. It's life, it's my work, it's the way I make life work, actually. I couldn't see myself doing anything different.
That's amazing. That's also interesting that you say that, since you come from the business management world, and now you're an artist, and having business on your side as an artist is extremely amazing. I don't think a lot of people know that, but as an artist, you have to be in business also. So what would you say is your definition of an artist? Because
I guess someone that creates out of passion, something that didn't exist before, or a different way of looking at life. Also someone that, given all life's opportunities, wouldn't be able to live doing anything else but that, doing art.
Here's a question that I have that just popped up into my mind right now. Would you consider yourself an artist now, or were you an artist before?
I mean, I've always been, since I was a little kid, interested in and curious about papers, pens, markers, paints, paintbrushes. Like, I'd rather go as a kid to an art supply store rather than a toy store. So I don't know if that has a lot or a little to do with it, but and I always literally drawn, painted, I guess all throughout school, middle school, high school, even college, in all different subjects, I was always like drawing while the teacher was talking when I should have been paying attention. In many lessons, I was always like drawing in the middle of like, and then every now and then I would pay attention. So, but the thing is that I never saw it as a career, art. I always assumed it as a hobby, and then I until I did, until I saw a possibility, and now I'm at this place. I've been doing photography for 13 years and into the art world through Dots and Lines for the past 3 years.
I've had a couple people tell me that the same thing that you just said, which is the definition of an artist is someone expressing themselves through an art form. And me as a photographer have struggled with accepting myself as an artist, but I've had artists tell me that as a photographer that I am an artist because I'm capturing moments and I'm creating these amazing visuals and reminding people of memories to say. And what I find very interesting is for you, you've been doing this project or this photography book for almost every client that you have, capturing their lives as they go on through their lives. And to me, that is art. So when you were explaining being an artist, about sketching and using paper and stuff like that, it reminds me of myself, because when people ask me what is the definition of an artist, I tend to say, oh, you know, somebody that creates with pen, paper, and canvas. And I've had people look at me like, yeah, that's nice and all, but to be honest, your photography is also art.
Yes.
So I was wondering, you've been doing photography for 13 years. Did it ever come across your mind that you've been creating art, plus these 3 years, you've been creating art for the whole 13 years?
I mean, I think art is many things,
Mm-hmm.
but there is, when I have been like photographing my clients, it's not that I don't see it as art. Like many people call it, or I don't know if an art.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
It is like, but it's not just to hold a camera and go and take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's way more than that, in the sense that the person, I mean, my focus has always been a very intimate one in the way that I photograph people. So that is probably the way my art reflects in photography.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much as like, I never do studio photography.
Mm-hmm.
I never use artificial lighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the intimate world of each person.
Mm-hmm.
So if that translates into art, then beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is just the way I like to photograph, and why people want me to photograph them, because it's a very candid, spontaneous, real, natural scenario for them. Like, one thing that I never photograph of any of my clients is an event day of their lives. A wedding, a baptism, a graduation, a birthday. It always has to be a day-to-day kind of activity, but one that they truly love.
Mm-hmm.
So many people consider that art. Whatever you want to consider it, it's fine. I am happy because they are happy.
Mm-hmm.
and I like when I get like these gratitude notes from them telling me how they love to sit down and look through their books and see all these beautiful, otherwise fleeting moments printed and documented in this coffee table book that they have of their lives, of their families. Like, some people I started photographing when they were single, that at some point they found a partner, then at some point there was a belly, and then there was a baby. The baby has grown, now it's a 10-year-old kid. And everything is in the book. So yes, I do call it art. But it's literally their lives. But through the eyes of a photographer. So
I only asked that question because I struggled with that, just accepting myself as the visual artist that I am in that sense. You know, it's I think it's a process that a lot of people go through to finally be able to see that perspective. It's like someone has to tell you. And I just wanted to let you know that you've been an artist for all that time, even when you were sketching as a young
kid.
person. Yeah. So it's interesting for me because when I originally started doing these interviews, I would be asking myself, hey, you know, I'm not an artist, I'm not this, and the artist sitting across from me would be telling me, oh, you're an artist. So for me to now be able to share that with you in that sense, to remind you that you've been an artist the whole time, is kind of interesting. But I like how you say that when you're working with a client, you prefer them to be in a natural day to day. When you're creating your pieces, like your on the canvas pieces, do you have a trigger? Do you have something that comes into mind that makes you create one of your, say for instance, one of your pieces that's very smaller, the dots, the lines are smaller. Is there a trigger for that, or do you just?
Yes and no. Like some pieces I have in mind prior to, like I do a few studies or a bunch of studies, sometimes a few, sometimes a bunch. And then I come up with a concept to develop and an idea, and I think of a body of work with an idea in mind. So when I'm doing those pieces, then it's part of a concept. Some other times I just start free painting and seeing what comes. So it's both approaches, and I love them both. Like sometimes I am like doing something with something in mind. Some other times I just let myself be carried and see what happens. Some pieces I actually leave them for a while unfinished, and then finish them afterwards, in the sense that sometimes what I have in mind, or when I'm doing something in this free kind of situation, I end up spending a lot of time on a piece, and then it's according to me finished from what I had in mind that I was going to do, and I didn't like it. So I'm like, wow, I spent already so much time on this piece. So I leave it there, and then I start seeing what I'm going to do with that piece, because I cannot leave all those hours gone to waste. And some people have seen like these kind of pieces, and people like it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but I don't, and I don't feel comfortable selling something that I don't like. I have to love it. And so I'm like, no, that's not ready, that's not ready, and then I eventually finish it somehow. So, but or some others I am still waiting. Actually, I have a few pieces that I am still waiting to see when my mind is going to come up, or my heart, or something, with the way to finish the piece.
So basically, when you go through creative blocks, you just step away and you allow yourself to start something new, or?
Yes, which is hard, because I am very intense and I want to start something and finish that and get it over with. But it's been part of the journey to learn this patience about, and it's worked, because in some I did a mural in one time that I started, and halfway I didn't. It's not that I didn't like it, but I didn't know how to continue with it, because that one I didn't have an idea in mind prior to the mural, and it sat there for a little while. But then once I figured it out, it was amazing. It's one of my favorite murals, but I had to wait quite a while to finish that one.
So say when you're doing a mural, does the client give you like specifics, and then you sketch it out, or do they just trust you with the creative process?
Both.
Both.
Both. In the sense, usually when a client wants a mural, it's because they've seen my work, they've seen other murals that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So I do go and see and check out the space and get a vibe of themselves, their energy, their colors, the way that they have the house, the design that they have. And sometimes they have an idea and they tell me, people, we like more this rather than this of what I have done.
Mm-hmm.
And some other times they tell me, just give us propose something, and then I come up with an idea of what I'm going to do. For the most part, they say, I love it.
Nice.
Some other times they're like, what if we do this minor change, and then I accommodate. So it's both. It has happened both. Some other times, literally, they're like, do whatever you need to do. Like, we trust you.
Yeah.
But I like both, because I want, you're the one living the space.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are wanting me to do a mural because you like my artwork, but my artwork can accommodate to many things.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very flexible as well, so I want to accommodate to something that you're going to absolutely love. So yeah, it's both.
That's awesome. So you said you used to work in the corporate world. Now, are you more focused on the art world, or do you still have maybe a business in the corporate world that you work for, in a sense? So you're a full-time artist.
Full-time artist.
That's amazing. How was that transition for you? Because they say that the life of an artist is a very difficult and inconsistent life. You have to have a lot of faith, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there, which you did, of course, with the marketing and building a website and posting yourself on social media. To me, that's marketing. How would you say your life has been as an artist so far, as a full-time artist?
I wouldn't change it for anything else, but of course, not only as an artist, but as is the situation of many people in the freelance world, there is a lot of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. Not only at the beginning, even throughout the whole thing, the whole life, is the whole journey. Sometimes there is a lot of things happening, some other times not, but it's just part of the journey. So I think it's a matter of getting getting to an understanding with that fact that it's an uncertain land, but as long as you are constant, you are optimistic, you keep on working, you learn to live with it and make it work.
That's amazing. So would you say your acquisition, client acquisition process, do they go to your website and they find you, or has it mostly been referrals from other people that you've worked with?
It's always been word of mouth.
Word of mouth? Word
of mouth. I've gotten clients through my website and social media, but that's a minimum compared to the referrals and word of mouth. Either clients referring or friends referring, but yeah, it's been word of mouth.
To me, that's like the best way to be represented. That's the best way to be represented. So that would mean that the people that you've worked with before, the clients that you worked with before, are very supportive and are very helpful in that state. But I know that you say that, your pieces are kind of like your way of meditating and trying to go into a world where, you're just focused and stuff like that, and to express yourself properly. This is a question that I like to ask a bunch of, everyone. I've asked every person that I've interviewed this question, and I would like to ask you this question. You say that you're doing pretty decent. You seem like you're doing okay, but I would like to ask you, how is your mental health?
My mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I I think it's all good in the sense that I've always been, as I mentioned before, a very active person. So I think when you're busy, you don't have time to think of any, I don't know, bad situations, in the sense not only being busy doing something you love. So I think that's been one of the things that I'm always grateful about, to be able to live doing something that I truly love, which is photography and art. And as long as I'm busy doing that the way I've been, it's been all good, you know, like, because when you're overwhelmed by so much, because at times there is a lot of things going on, but there are things that you love. So I never complain about anything. I cannot complain, but I'm a very grateful person. So to me, I have two hands, I have 2 feet, I have 2 eyes. Like, I'm alive. I cannot complain. So I have to be grateful for that. So mental health, you just have to keep on with your journey and be grateful with whatever life is offering you.
I love that. I love that. I'm happy to hear it, and that's great to hear, because to me, it's a very important question. People smile all the time. People laugh all the time, but deep down there's more, you know. And I just like to ask that question, because I've dealt with it sometimes, you know. And I wanted to give, I know it's on camera and stuff, but I wanted to give you guys the opportunity as artists to express, you know, genuinity, because I really want to know how you're feeling, and I really want to know you as a person. Not saying that you have to, but I just like to hear it, just to make sure, like, hey, you know, you're doing okay. Is there anything I can do to help extra? That's how I am. That's how I move. I like to support, not just through social media and these interviews, but like also like any other ways that I can. Like, hey, you know, like, if you want to go get some pizza or something, you know, like what do you need right now, you know, so stuff like that. So that's just me adding a little bit of extra of what I do personally.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's just me. But you said also that your family is in Colombia.
Yeah.
How would you say they react to you being an artist?
I've been very lucky in that regard, as well, in the sense that they've always been an extraordinary example of hard work and constancy, and also very supportive of me being an artist. So I've always been raised in an environment of a lot of love and a lot of support, a lot of family being there for you, and no matter what, is this what you truly want to do, we support it. So it's not the case of many people, but that's another of the big reasons I'm so grateful in life, like to have parents that have been always very supportive of me and the art. Awesome. Well, my mom is an architect, my father is a civil engineer, but also studied gemology. So they love the art world and the creativity, and yeah, so.
It's very interesting that you say your mom is an architect. That's also been a key word in most of these interviews. The architecture world
of art, yeah.
It all just comes together sometimes. So speaking of support, you started a new Instagram, you put out your work, and Art Gallery said they loved it. And then you started doing murals, or you were doing murals before actually, and then you started doing more murals, and then you've been moving forward and moving higher and higher. How would you say the support is in the art industry of Miami? Is it easy to meet fellow other artists, or is it kind of just a word of mouth and social media posts? Do you network with other fellow artists? Do you move around? Do you go to the events?
Yeah, the thing is that I am probably a particular person in terms of that because I'm very social. So I believe that if you want to get something or make something happen, you go and get it, and you knock on doors, and you. So if I want to meet artists, then I can go to tons of events where there are artists. I need to get anything done. You go and knock on doors. So I think in Miami there is a lot of art opportunities, and you just have to look for them. But they all take time, like applications to do like any projects and stuff. But you have to take the time if you need to make something happen, or you have to go get it.
So would you say that your career so far has been in the photography? You could speak on the photography world and the art world. Would you say, how would you explain your career so far as a photographer, and how would you explain your career so far as a painter?
Well, the thing is that I really cannot compare so much in the sense that photography I've been doing for the past 13 years. So it's a bit, well, way longer than what I've been into the art world, which is literally like 3 years. So it's been, I cannot complain. It's good. I'm not saying I could be at a lower point or a higher point. I just have to be grateful for whatever stage I'm at. It's a journey, as any other artist, and I'm happy at every step of it, you know. So I just have to be confident and optimistic and keep on working. The thing is to be constant, to keep on working and to never stop.
So the key word so far is constant and grateful.
Yes.
Yes. I love it. I love it. What is a recent accomplishment that you've had so far that you're really proud of?
I've always had an issue with the word proud. You know, I prefer happy.
Happy.
Yeah, just happy.
Okay.
and I don't know. I mean, to me, I see all the accomplishments, either big or small, as very important in the journey. So I'm really happy about all of them, even if they are like little thing or a big thing. They're part of it all. So, but recently I painted a mural in Design District, in the north facade of Carousel Studios. I'm currently working on a collaboration with a Panama hat brand from Ecuador that it's called Artesano. I finished a big mural in a private home recently as well, and I'm working on 2 more murals at the moment. I'm very happy about all of them.
I love that.
So let's see what comes next.
That's awesome. So speaking of next, let's say 5 years from now, where do you see yourself, and what would you have to do to get there?
I'm very bad at that question usually, in the sense that as long as I work, because of what I have done in the past and everything has brought me to the moment that I am, and also thinking of the future because there is things and that I want to accomplish, I really live in the present. And I think that when I get asked that question, because you're not the first one, I always think that I just want to be doing what I'm already doing, which is living out of my art, photography, and painting, and dots and lines. And as long as I keep on doing that forever, then I'll be the happiest. It doesn't matter if I'm, I don't know, whatever, or doing whatever, but as long as I'm doing that. So in 5 years from now, I really want to keep on doing photography and dots and lines.
I love it. Constant and grateful. Keyword. A keyword. That's amazing. That's an amazing mindset to have. Either way, whether you have the goals of having something bigger, or whether you're just happy continuing to do what you're doing and moving forward and getting what you're getting out of it, whichever it is. I think that's amazing to have. And for me, like, I'm a very grateful person also. I'm always saying I'm thankful for the small things, the little things, whatever it is, even some of the days where things are not that great. I'm grateful that I'm still breathing. So I think that's an amazing mindset to have. I think you're going to be as whatever you want to be. And be as big as you want to be, and you're already an amazing artist. You're already an amazing photographer. I think your journey is going as well as it can be. I think your journey is amazing so far. I've checked out some of your social media posts. You've showed me some of the videos of your work, and I also hope that everything continues to keep blessing you, and everything keeps moving forward, and you stay as constant and consistent.
To you too.
Thank you.
To you too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, with that said, we're going to end the interview. It's been a pleasure. It's been amazing. Thank you for inviting me into your space. I'm grateful. Thank you for the tea. Thank you for the water. I'm grateful for it all. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything. I'm grateful also.
Thank you, Ricardo. It's been really a pleasure, and thank you for inviting me to be part of your show.
Thank you. Is there anything you would like to mention, like anything upcoming, or maybe share your website and your social media so that people may know?
Yeah, sure. Anything that comes up, it's always in my social media. So if people can follow Dots and Lines World on Instagram, then amazing.
Perfect. With that said, everybody, thank you for joining us. This has been Ricardo and
Pipe.
I hope you guys had an amazing time with us. We definitely had an amazing time having this conversation. And we hope you guys join us next time. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.